I'm going to talk to you about three problems that I see in K through 12 education, and in particular high school. Then I'm going to talk about three partial solutions to those problems. And then lastly, I'm going to tell you about my experience in curriculum design. So the first problem I see is that school is based too much on acquiring knowledge. It isn't necessarily the thing that's going to help students the most. The second problem is that older students sometimes have a fixed mindset, and this causes them to not try something and give up, and then shy away from uh, challenges in the future. The third problem I see is that the assignments that students get are largely decontextualized from real life, and that causes the students to disengage from them. So, what are some possible solutions? Well, for the first problem, school focusing too much on knowledge, I think that we have to know what to focus on. One of those things is being able to self-regulate as they work and as they learn. Unless we actually talk about self-regulation and encourage it, the students might not be able to do anything with the knowledge that they've gained. The second problem, and that problem was that students in high school sometimes have a fixed mindset, and that can limit their futures. So I think here, learning from other people and having a community is really important. And also, very importantly, making it okay to fail. It kind of comes through with the tone of voice and the words that teachers and other folks use with the students in their class. The third problem was that assignments are decontextualized, and I've learned a bit about career academies, which is a model that I think Prisma could draw some inspiration from. Basically, for a semester, students are focused on a particular industry and position, such as the medical industry and paramedics, and all of the social studies, science, English, and math that students have learned in the past, they're now applying it to something in the real world. In addition, I would say that a dream school just has really good teachers and counselors and people who are facilitating special groups for students. And all these folks are inspiring, and they're inspired by their work. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to talk about the curriculum design experience I have. So I worked for schools as a teacher for about 5 years, and 3 of those years I was a full-time teacher at under-resourced schools. And since we didn't have a curriculum, I had to build my own. I loved my students, so I wanted to make sure that my curricula was of the highest quality. After that, I became a curriculum developer for a couple companies. One was Just Learn, which serviced middle school science teachers, and I created 16 lessons with assessments for them on the topic of sustainable agriculture. That maybe you can learn through a textbook, but through project-based lessons, I think students are going to get more excited about that and see the real-world implications. And then the second job that I worked at more recently was at a place called Ori, and we serviced adult learners, folks who are consultants, engineers, a really wide variety of people, because the topic we were teaching was workplace communication and essentially how we come off to other people when we communicate with them. So for that, I worked with a UX designer, a product designer, data scientist, salespeople. We saw 10% learning gains in terms of speech scores, which were automatically generated. And we also saw a big increase in engagement. And I think that's the big takeaway from user testing and iterating for me, was you can make things more engaging for students. Thank you very much. I hope to hear from you. Take good care.